Welcome to the Carl Jackson podcast. Thank you for listening on Spotify or any other platform that you listen to podcasts on. And thank you for watching. For those of you who are watching by television, I want to say a special shout out. I guess I'm testing my mic. I want to send a special shout out to the people of Los Angeles, channel 24.7, and everybody else in America, Latin America, Canada, who are watching on our channel 90. Channel 90. I don't know why I said 50. But anyway, thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate it. You guys have been very encouraging. To get in touch with us, you know how to reach us, which is Instagram, Facebook, CJC TV. And we're just excited to do these podcasts. And today, I have a special guest person who's actually going to be doing a television show on the network at some point. We did a pilot, believe it or not. We did a pilot probably, 4 or 5 years ago. And but she has evolved so much since we shot the pilot that now it just kind of feels like we're going to have to we got to figure out what it's going to be, her show. Like, we got to go back to the drawing board and see, okay, what is this show really going to be about? But anyway, she's a guest today. Her name is Mercedes Desire. I know, isn't that a cool name? 2 cool names, first and last name. And I guess we should just really get right into it because, right? Should we get right into it? Yeah. I think she's live via satellite from Miami. She's in Miami right now. And when we come back from commercial break, we're going to start talking to her in depth. Now, she's one of those people who, she's a fireball, and she's a very, very exuberant person, has an exuberant spirit, but she's passionate about changing the world for the better. And all the guests that I have on the show, I used to be one of those guys that's like, oh, I want to have, special celebrities on, blah, 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 blah. And I booked a few, and a few did do my show, and then some just canceled or didn't show up or whatever. And it just really got me to thinking that I think we have to get past the whole thought of celebrityism, fake hoopla, the concept of someone being famous just being them, as opposed to being famous for knowledge and understanding and changing the world. I think, to me, the fame part of it is what has hurt us. To me, the real famous people are the ones that are your doctors, your farmers, your electricians, your nurses, your firemen, your police officers, your teachers, your janitors. These are the new celebrities to me. What I do is just basically, I have a voice to let those people speak. And that's what this show is about. This podcast is about. It's about allowing people to speak that have a voice, that have great ideas, who have great wisdom, have great knowledge. And so today is no different. So when we come back, Mercedes Desire. Welcome back to the Carl Jackson podcast. So let's get right into it. My guest tonight, or today, whenever you're watching it, she's via satellite in Miami. Her and I go back long time. Like, we've been friends probably over, 8, 9, 10 years. And she's just a wonderful person, great spirit. I wanted her to be on the podcast again because she was on previously on one of my older episodes before we started filming and taping these things. So I wanted her to come back so you could visually get the experience of what it's like to know her. So without further introduction, introduce yourself. Hi, can you see me? Introduce yourself. Is she there? She live? Okay. She there? There she go. Okay. So introduce yourself.
Hello, thank you for having me here, Carl. My name is Mercedes Desire Falcon. You can find me on social media, all around the board, Mercedes Desire. and I am the founder of the I Am Me movement, and also the podcast of Spiritual Knock. That's KNAHK.
So I want to talk a little bit about how you started spiritually, your spiritual journey. You and I have known each other for years, so I've actually got to watch you go from basically young woman to now your full spiritual kind of self as a woman. And so, I mean, we've talked about everything about your life. We've known each other enough to kind of talk about personal things. But I want you to share with the audience, how did you become the spiritual force that you are today?
Well, I would say my beginning was, like I shared in the last podcast that we did about a year ago, when I was 12 years old, that I kind of just came into this person that I had to make a decision on who I wanted to be, when I was 12 years old, because the situation that was going on in my life, and I was traveling a lot, so in that moment, for me, it was more like, who do you want to be? Because it's only me and you, which is me and the Most High. That's how I saw it. And that's kind of where my journey started. And then slowly, because I was born in through Catholic, and then slowly I was introduced into Christianity, which kind of took me to another level within myself, because the Catholic and the Christians are a little bit different. It was a different type of love that you experience through the Christianity, so then I went into that journey of Christianity, and from when I started, I would say Christianity when I was about 15 years old. And then I was baptized, I gave myself to the Most High around 16, 17, at the beach, in the water, in the real water. And it just kind of started from there. So, I had kids, I was in a relationship and everything. But where I am right now, you know, in my highest form, started recently. I want to say about 2, 3 years ago, and it was just, I was at a point in my life that I was feeling that I had something greater to do, and I was seeing where things were going, because it was more like I was waiting for everyone else that was with me in my life to grow, not realizing that we all grow, we all grow and differently, and spiritually, we all have our own journey, of growth, so I had to make that decision. It was like a sacrifice to me, because, I can't, I was becoming like, like I was, sinking into myself, instead of, coming out and embracing, what God put inside of me, so I had to make that decision. And when I made that decision, that I said, because God give us messages, he speaks to us. And I always say, let that little voice that we hear a lot, he speaks to us, and I was able to acknowledge that recently, that I was being disobedient, because he was guiding me and telling me, Mercedes, I need you to do this, And sometimes we allow our ego to make the decision instead of what we really feel inside that we should do, So in that moment that I said, I'm going to follow that voice instead of my own ego, is really when my journey started, And I realized that it's just so powerful in that alone. Like,
Oh, wow. Well, you know what? I understand the tears of joy. I get it. It's such a powerful feeling to be in your complete power, if you will. But tell the people across the world, I think this will help people to understand why you're crying tears of joy. Explain how you were able to separate the two voices between ego and that small God voice, I guess you want to call it. how do you know the difference? How do you know the difference between the two voices? Because a lot of people struggle with hearing that voice. They hear it, but it's quiet. You know what I mean? So how do you turn off the ego voice and replace it with God's voice?
It's really, I always went by, you know, I don't, I always went by the story of what would Jesus do? And really, it's not what would Jesus do, but it's more of what would God do, what God would have done, because, you would say that that was his son, in the Bible is shared, how God was, he sent his son, which was Jesus, and I mean, I indulge into the story of Jesus very recently, which made me fall in love all over again, that's the water. And I always, growing up, I always used to ask myself before I made the decision, what would have Jesus done in this situation, you know? And at the end of the day, everything is done by love. So if love is not in it, then you're going off of your own ego, because that means that you're thinking about more about yourself than the real purpose, that you're supposed to be moving in. Because when you're moving in your purpose, there's always love in it. And love is love. There's nothing that can get in love, like it can't affect love or break love. Once that love is there, which when I say, God is inside of all of us, and in the Bible, which was the beginning of him speaking about love, when he said, that I created you in my own image, right? His image is love. So that is how I differentiated the ego and that voice, because to me, God's voice is very sweet. It's sweet, but it's powerful at the same time. So it's just being able, and it goes back to our conscious and our subconscious. Sometimes I would explain to people, if they want to be able to differentiate it, the difference is our subconscious is our tape recorder, right? The things that we've learned in this world of mankind. And you will say that is also the enemy part inside of you, that to where you would say that the enemy can affect you, because you're functioning in your subconscious mind. But when you're functioning in your conscious, that is God. That is your spirit. That is you in your true form and who you truly supposed to be. So that's how I'm able to differentiate it when it comes to your ego and that little voice.
So how does one train themselves to hear that voice? It's one thing to know the difference between the two voices, but how does one train themselves to hear it and tune into it and completely turn off the ego voice?
That is a wonderful question. I'm so glad you asked me that. This is what it is. The answer is already inside of you. Okay? The answer is already inside of you. We were born with the answers. And somewhere in between, we started becoming more in this world, indulging into this world, than the world that we really came from, which is the spiritual world, right? So the way that I explain it to people is, you have to be real with you. Only you know the thoughts that processes in your mind. Only you know what those moments make you feel like. It, like some people, they may show to you a face of happiness, but internally they're really sinking in and they're really hurt. But only you know that, because what you're showing us is happiness, but that's not really what's going on inside of you. So when you get to that point where you can be real with yourself, and tell yourself, like, yeah, I'm a liar. Yeah, I'm not happy. Yeah, and because that's part of your relationship with God. That's part of you leveling up within your own Christ consciousness. So that to me is one of the most important things, is you being real with yourself and really, really genuinely being real about it. Because you're going to have those moments, right? You're going to have those moments where you're going to want to lie, or you're going to want to smoke, or you're going to, and you have to be able to catch yourself and tell yourself, no, that I'm not doing that, and that's just the beginning. And then when you can tell the world, this is who I am, and you're not afraid to let people know that that's who you are, you Me personally, it was parts of me that I didn't want to expose because I thought that was a bad side of me. And then I realized that part of me is actually a strong part of me, that I have to embrace and use it use it in a good way, and not see it that is bad because, I'm that strong or that adamant, in that area. So it's you being real with yourself. You feel how you feel in every moment. You know what thoughts run through your head in every moment. It's just being able to tell yourself, yes, I am that a-hole. I am that person, like I don't like people, or I don't, it's just admitting you're good in your bads, and being okay, like that is who you are. And if you don't like it, then you go and take the initiative to do something about it. Now it becomes a part of your daily growth because you have to be conscious now of those actions or those moments when you're having that thought.
I think that's a great. I think that's a great point that you made earlier about your tools. In a way, you're saying your tools. Like for me, I take myself. I can use myself as an example. I have somewhat of a stubborn problem, and I can be stubborn at times, and there are times that I can be very opinionated. But I think the problem that we have is we sometimes want to take out the tool as opposed to adjusting the tool. In other words, instead of being opinionated at the wrong time, there are times that you have to be opinionated in the right times, or if you're stubborn, there's a wrong way to be stubborn. There's an evil ego side to being stubborn, and then there's a good side that comes with being stubborn as well, because it's a tool. God placed in all of us tools that can equip us for what our journey is. It's just that sometimes you're using the wrong tool at the wrong time.
You got it right. You got it right. That's why I say when you're moving in love, sometimes, because I would say you to love thyself, to go inside of you and get closer to you, and when I say that, you getting closer to you is you getting closer to God. And a lot of people truly don't know who God is. We hear it all the time, but I think everyone have that, like, who is God, like really truly, like, and that's why you have some people that go to different religion because they're seeking something. God is love. That's who God is love. And all these different religions is just segregation. But if you going to jumping onto these different religions, you come to realize that it's really not that much of a difference. When it comes to who God truly is, God is love. It's just being complicated, but God is simple. So why is it complicated, right?
Okay, so tell us a little bit about your podcast. I'm excited about this new venture.
All this is God. Like I don't even give myself the credit because it is God. And it was just, when I told you that recently I came into a new level, a new enlightenment, it was more of like, baby girl, I need you to do this for me. And I got a gift for you, you know? And this is my purpose. And I'm very adamant about it. Like it's so strong because one thing is when you feel that you're supposed to do something great, but when you can see it clearly all the way to the end, and then on top of that, to know that this is God guiding you, I honestly there's in some moments where I don't plan nothing. I move with the spirit. So in this moment, let's say I'm doing the website. In my head, I don't know what the website's supposed to look like, but I get the website done in an hour, and have everything perfect, and I'm a very deep thinker. I'm a very deep thinker because, I mean, I guess I was born like that, but when it comes to is, okay, I have a team. I have a team put together. And something that I always bring to their attention is God is love and love is God. So if you want to know who love is, understand that God is love. My vibration is peace and love when I go around anyone. that's what they instantly, they feel the comfort and the love, you know, because it's real. It is so real, the love of it, you know. So this movement is called I Am Me. I, A-M-I-M-I-I, not M-E, is M-I-I, right? And everything, in every detail that I put out there, everything that I do, it all has a meaning. Like literally the letters, the colors, the everything. This what I'm doing right now has its own purpose, you know? So it's God that is really working in everything that I'm doing and literally told me what I need to do. Like I'm just getting like these downloads. I'm just waking up and like, okay, this is what needs to get done today. This is what, you know, and that's you moving in God, you know, allowing the spirit to move you and guide you into what you're supposed to do. And right now where we are, like this whole pandemic situation that's going on, this is something that I've been talking about for 2 years. You know, I started my motivational calls last year, and this is something I don't know if you've tapped into any of mine, but I always tell them 2020, 2020, 2020. And I started what I did on my motivational call into further, you know, the next 7 years, you know, is bringing people into an awareness, you know, and giving them a perspective that they will most likely not find from any individual, right? Because it was given to me. I'm the one that's supposed to deliver the message a way that it needs to be delivered for everyone, right? So in that's why I go into my deep situation, you know, going into deep, but it's to be understood, you know, because a lot of people don't really think that deep. And it's really because of all the distractions, and distractions can be anything. You can be your own distractions because you can be in your head a lot, you know, and understanding that alone. But I Am Me is really the future, and it's a movement for the people. And I'm starting the movement with the children because they're our next generation, you know, and they're the one that really gonna dictate what our tomorrow is going to, the next few years is gonna look like, you know. So for me, it's like I want to instill in them in an early age that they don't need to go anywhere to seek God because God is already inside of you, you know. So give give them that love, allow them to feel what true love really feels like, you know, because once they know, they will be able to also experience the power of God. Because when you have that love and you experience that, you can never go back to anything else, you know. You're always going to have that comfort, you know. Like a lot of people will say, you know, well I trust God, and you know, I'm just allowing God to, you know, but really it's because they probably heard it from someone else. But when you're confident in that, when you're confident in that God is truly inside of you, it's something that happens inside of you. And my voice, the voice that I have today, and you know, Carl, I didn't have 2 years ago, you know, and I didn't even know. Like I just started doing my calls, and then my voice just started getting more powerful and more powerful. And then I realized that's I'm supposed to use my voice, you know, to for people, because I've realized when I hear my own voice, it does something to me. Like, you know, like it's like I'm not even that person that's I'm hearing right now. You know, that's how strong it is, and I can hear God in my own voice, you know, which I'm grateful for. I listen a lot, mostly to my own recordings. Like on my phone, I record myself all the time, and I built it up to where, okay, now I'm gonna do spiritual knock, and I am able to share these recordings, you know, and these recordings are very powerful. They're a minute of less than a minute long, but that is enough for you to really feel like she's right. I can feel God. I get what she's saying, you know, like something started clicking inside of you. And, you know, that's what I did to a lot of people for the past year. And now I'm going global.
Okay, tell us a little bit about your company. That's your necklace, right? That's your
Yes,
original design, right?
that was my beginning, Carl. You know, like I don't know if you remember on the last podcast, right? You remember that I told you this came, I wasn't planning this. I was nowhere near stones, nowhere near jury, nothing. This kind of happened, and I was just being guided. And now, like, I have new superpowers. Like I'm learning that I'm a healer, that I can heal people, with my voice, and it's just amazing. But my necklaces, these are organized, okay? These are organized, and it protects you from radiation. It don't just protect you from radiation, but it also balances yourself. So like if you have anxiety, if you have like, any type of disease, like as far as like any autoimmune issues, this helps you. It helps your blood flow, a little bit better. It helps your skin, and also it removes the bad ions, which is the most important part right now. What's going on with the epidemics and stuff with this corona situation, this right now, everyone need this. And I mean, as a matter of fact, I'm doing this podcast. I was going to announce this tomorrow, but I am giving away 432 tower busters. Okay? Tower busters, basically, you can put it in your room, like in each room, each tower buster, and it protects that space that you have. If you can put it at least within half a mile of the tower, it's like the cell phone towers, because they're bringing out the 5G, it will protect that whole community, and also bring out the vibration that I put in it, which is love and peace, you know? So it's pretty dope. I'm gonna be announcing that tomorrow to the rest of the world. That I'm gonna give away 432. So if anyone that is watching this is interested, you can always look me up on IME Spirit. That's where we're going to, put the information in.
No, you giving away 431 because one of them is mine. So it's not going to be 432. It's going to be 431. And you owe me a necklace. You probably owe me 2 or 3 necklaces because of interest.
It's one that you need, but you don't need it yet. That's why you don't have the one that I'm supposed to give you. This is what it looked like. These small ones is good for one room. The bigger it is, the more stronger it is. And, you would say that it would protect your radiation in their home. I have a lot of people, that they mostly buy it to keep it like on their computer, because there's a lot of radiation that comes from the computer. And I'm working on getting the stickers that you can put on your phone, because the iPhones is very dangerous.
Okay, so here's what I want you to do. What was that defining moment that clicked for you to where you just got it? You know what I mean? Oprah calls it the aha moment. I don't think it's an aha moment per se, but it's when it clicked for you.
Well, it wasn't really too much of an aha moment, because I don't plan it. It's just moving in the spirit, and listen, and basically being obedient, because that's what happened. I became obedient, and instead of, you have that little voice that tells you to go right, and you're like, no, left looks better, I'd rather go left, and you go left, and things turn out crazy, and it's like, damn, something was telling me to go the other way, right? So I don't do that no more. Whenever it tells me what it tells me, no matter how it looks, good or bad, I'm going to follow it. So in that moment, I'm doing a recording, honestly, my voice, my first recording, powerful recording, which I shared, was I was typing it up on Facebook, and what I was saying, I felt so strong about that. I was like, you know what? I'm going to record this with my voice. And that recording it just mind blew me. Like and then in that moment, I started doing more recordings, and the more recordings that I did, the stronger my voice became, and I just discovered a lot of things that I've realized, that I've been moving in my purpose for a very long time. And God's been, all the things that I went through, God just been preparing me for the strength that I need to have for the things that is going to happen, that I have to be in the front line, and I have to be strong enough to be able to go through these battles that a lot of people are not going to be able to go through. And I can provide that strength for them. And it was an affirmation that I did in 2015. And I didn't realize that there was God speaking until I saw that video, about 2 years ago. And the affirmation goes, I'm on a mission. I'm not on a regular mission or an average ass mission. I'm on a real mission. And this here ain't average, because it's immense. So it's go time, people. It's time to make it happen. I don't know what your passion is. I don't know what you're after. But let that not be normal. Because if not, you won't be recognized. And when I heard that again, that's something clicked to me. Like, God's been here the whole time. And I didn't realize that I was already moving in my purpose until recently. So it's just like another level of excitement. In a sense, I would say, light workers, people that's supposed to be the light for the world, it's not just me, it's a lot of us, and you're one of them. Like we're doing this together. We all play our part. We all were given the gift that we were given to play that role that we need to play, and my role is my role, your role is your role. But at the end, we all coming together, because right now we're in the midst of history, Carl. I don't know if but we're actually in the midst of history. We are part of history that they're going to talk about years from now, and we're in it. You know what? That's such a blessing. It's just like with this corona situation that's going on. To me, it's like this is God moving. Like, like it's beautiful in itself. To me, everything, because to me, everything, God is in it. At the end, it's always good. So no matter how bad it seems in that moment, those moments that I had that I felt weak, that was what kept me strong, because I knew at the end, it's always good. It's a good that's going to come out of it, because God is in control of my whole entire existence, and I'm fully indulged into it. The closer you get to you, the better of you and the more of to the world you can give. It's just like that saying that they say, you love someone in the level of love that you love yourself. So if you can indulge into you and be more real with you and understand you better than anything else, and understand how powerful you are, because God is you, God is inside of you, you will be great to everyone else, and you won't be functioning in your ego.
So here's what I want you to do, Mercedes. I know you. I know your giftings. I've known you, like I said, for a long time. But I want you to talk to the people that are watching, the people that are listening on the podcast. I want you to just talk to them directly and give them one of your calls. When you do those, calls where your staff or your people, your teams, and they all get on the phone and you do these motivational calls, I want you to do a little motivational moment right now, just for 5, 6, 7 minutes, and just let them enter into your world for a minute and see you in your gift and how you operate. Let's do that for a couple minutes.
Let's see, because I normally have a subject and I kind of go from there. But since we're doing that, let me go ahead and grab my book. Where is it? I think I have it right here. Yes. And we're going to do this together. We're going to do this together. This is a book that I sometimes bring out when I don't have a subject and, I want to be enlightened on a subject. And it's called Angel Wisdom. This book was given to me a long time ago from a good friend. He was an older person in his 70s, and he died from cancer And when he died, they told me that he left this room, you know, with a piano. So it's called Angel Wisdom. And in this book is basically like, you know, like the angels giving you like their wisdom type thing. But it's by date. So today is, what's today? Today is March, what? March 20. Okay, March 28th. So we're gonna go into looking at March 28th and let's see what it gives us, right? Okay. Woo! Look at this. See? The subject is cooperate. Cooperate. Okay. Let's receive the message right now. So it says, the title is Cooperate. Let's cooperate and cheat the devil. I already like it, you see? Okay, so it says, to cooperate means to operate with others in a helpful and functional way towards a common end. To cooperate with one's own life means to be helpful and to oneself and to look toward a functional and spiritual way to live. We can do this best by cooperating first with the angels and their message from God. You know, and the angels, they come in many different forms. And sometimes that little voice itself can be just the angels talking to you, right? All right, so then it say, the message the angels give us about cooperate is that people must not seek power over others or try to control a situation so that it turns out best for them at the expense of others. That's very powerful. That's very powerful. We often hear of companies with spiritual aims and goals that have run into trouble because they could not find others to cooperate with. Too many companies are seeking to control, not operate, not cooperate with. Too many companies are seeking to control, not cooperate. And too many controllers are far worse than too many chefs in the kitchen. This is for the business owners out there. This message is for the business owners, okay? The human need to control is eating away at the infrastructure of life's operation. Okay, then it says, think about your habits in regard to cooperation. Do you cooperate with others? Do you notice when others are not cooperative? Ask yourself if you could be a more cooperative person in a particular situation. Quite often, cooperating means taking less than we think we deserve. Cooperating is one of our only hopes for the future of humanity. We must cooperate with one another, with heaven, and with nature. If the prognosis for human life is going to be positive. Now, this part where it says with heaven and with nature, it's just think, you know, we have God, right? We have God. And, you know, we have the feminine and the masculine spirits, right? The feminine spirit is just that comfort, you know, that comfort. You know, and the masculine is more of power and you know, to make you feel safe, right? So now, in this part where it says, I'm just gonna give you a nugget real quick, with heaven and with nature, you know, you will say, when we were little kids, we would go to our mom first because we know that our mom would probably say yes before our dad, right? So we would go to our mom first, and I always say, you know, nature is in a sense the womb, is mother nature, you know, is a part of our feminine side, you know. And I'm gonna say something really powerful that just downloaded. We are jury. We are a jury to the planet, because you will say that we are a diamond, you know? So you have Earth, you have Earth that is so beautiful. Without us in it, it's already beautiful. You have the plants, the flowers, the trees, you have nature, you have the ocean and everything, right? And yet God put us on here, right? Which we are above all things. That is including the ants, everything, right? Because we're the closest to God. So in that, you will say that, whew, I'm sorry. In that, you will say we're the jewel. We're the jewel that was given as a gift to the earth, to Mother Nature, you know. And she in return is taking care of us. In return, she's being grateful, to the Most High by being able to provide to us the things that we need to nurture ourselves, which you will say that you will eat healthier. If you go more into a natural source of eating, you will actually vibrate very, very strong. You will actually bring a high part of you, like because everything that you say you expose yourself with, whatever energy that is. It's like if you consume meat. How did that meat grow up? Let's say you're eating chicken. What did that chicken go through? You know, up to the beginning to the end. How was that chicken treated? Was it treated, to be happy, to be grateful, was it given a lot of love before it died, or did it die, or was it slaughtered? That is what you're consuming. That energy, what that feeling was when they died. So just a nugget to keep in mind when you're eating meat, because sometimes, we go to eat meat, and I don't know if you guys, but you feel weird. Sometimes you feel like, you had all this energy and you went and ate meat, and now you feel like so sluggish. And that's because that meat probably didn't have the best experience in its life, and it goes back to, Mother Nature. Meat, in a sense, and chicken and everything else, meat, right? Meat itself, it, it is part of nature, but you will say that it's closest to us, right? You would probably say they probably have a spirit too. Who knows? you know and so it's Mother Nature plays a major role, and you will say that is the feminine side of our world, and then God is our masculine side. And we first go to Mother Nature, in a sense, to ground ourselves and to feel better, to feel comfort. And if for whatever reason we're still being disobedient, or we're, not listening to our mamas, our Mother Nature, and getting in tune with her, then that's where God comes in. And he's like, okay, well, you know what? If that's what you want to do, and you get life lessons, right? And then in those life lessons, you probably have the same thing. You go into this treadmill, your life keeps repeating itself, and you're wondering, why is it repeating itself? But that's because you haven't yet learned that lesson, and you haven't yet been real with yourself. So not until you realize, the lesson that's being given to you, that, that you can acknowledge, you're going to keep going through that loop. And for you to come out of the loop, you have to make big change. You have to make a change, and it's not a little change. You have to go outside of your comfort zone, outside of something that you have probably never tried, you never experienced, and you're probably scared to do. But sometimes that thing that you're scared to do is the thing that can literally change your life overnight. And it all starts with your mind. Our mind is so powerful, and you can be happy in 1 second, you can be sad in the other second. Is all because of what you thought in your head in those seconds. So yes, that's how long was that? 5 minutes, or was it longer?
Okay, so we've come to the end of the show. I'm so glad that you came by satellite, I guess, and did this for us down there in Miami. It's an incredible experience. I'm so happy that you did the show with me tonight, and or today or whenever you're watching it. And we can't wait to, you know what? We're going to do a TV show. You and I are going to do a TV show. I don't know if we've talked about this in the public, but we've shot a couple of pilots, but I think you've changed so much and so drastically from when we shot the first pilot that now we kind of have to do something different because you're a different person. I don't think you're the same person you were, I'd say, 5 years ago. Thank you for doing the show, and we're just very excited to see what's in store in the future.
To find me on social media is by looking me up, Mercedes Desire. Everything that I'm involved with, I do share on my personal page, and slowly people are gonna go to my other pages, but I share everything on mine, which is Mercedes Desire, and it's the I Am Me movement. I am me, the God in me.
Okay, guys. Till next time. You be blessed.
Bye.